Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gridwork episode 2. We spoke about grids beneath everything in our previous episode and the structure that are quietly holding life together. So today we are continuing that thread we opened there. Okay. And we are going deeper into land memory, ancient relines, and what the current solar cycle is actually doing to the Earth's baseline frequency. So, it is also directly affecting our bodies, our emotions, our perception, and sense of time. So when we say baseline, we are not talking about just the belief systems that we hold. Okay, we are talking about the background setting of the planet. So that's the key that we are going to talk about today, because it is the operating system everything is running on. And when that changes, you feel it in very ordinary ways before you ever have language for it.
Absolutely. And this episode is especially for those of you who have noticed that everything around you no longer feels the same. It could be places, people, all of those. And especially places because they have started to speak louder than words. Time has been stretching or has been collapsing without any kind of warning, and your body registers these shifts before your mind can even name them. And if you feel that this is confusion, or if you feel this is because you're fragile, flash news, this is actually accuracy of contact with the living, remembering planet that is changing its frequency, and you are built to feel it first.
Absolutely, Priya. So, this is very important to know that why it matters. And I want to mention specifically who can refer to this episode, for who this episode is. Especially, first of all, people who feel deeply affected by certain lands or locations. Okay, so I've seen many people who travel throughout, but they feel differently when they move to certain lands. I think this thing popped up in our previous episode as well. And another, there are sensitives. I would like to use this word, sensitives. Just check, guys, if you are the one whose bodies respond strongly to travel, to weather changes, or any kind of solar activity. Okay. And also, there are people who are experiencing sudden clarity, okay, or memory that is popping up in their heads, flashbacks they are experiencing without any clear personal cause. And Priya, I would like to mention I have been receiving a lot of calls in last few days. So whenever my friends called me, they have specifically mentioned that, okay, these are the dreams that we are getting. So I want to mention over here the subliminal as well, because the dreams that you are getting right now is the direct depiction of what is happening or transitioning in your subconscious minds, but it will show up in your conscious behavior as well. And another, it is specifically for people who are consciously working on the grids, the grid workers who know they are responding to something larger than their individual life. Okay. We need to talk about this now because the earth is not operating on the same baseline it was even a decade ago, even I would say a month ago.
Exactly. Because I think the most sensitive instrument always registers the change before the rest of the system catches up. And that system can be your brain, it can be an animal, it can be a forest, it can be a pet, anybody for that matter. So if we lack a clear context of what we are sensing, then we, turn accurate perception into personal pathology because we feel it is because something that is missing in us or lacking in us. We think that we are breaking when actually we are calibrating. So giving language to the shift isn't about making anybody feel special for that matter. It is about preventing unnecessary suffering and allowing the sensitivity to become useful intelligence instead of noise.
Right, Priya. And I feel like that is very much connected to the land memory and the lands we work on.
Yeah.
So when I refer to the land memory, let's just put it this way. Think about how your body remembers an old injury. Okay. Even years later, certain movements bring it back. Okay. Let's say X person fell from the stairs. Okay, they got an injury. But when they revisit those stairs, every time they get a flashback of that one. Okay, or maybe there could be psychosomatic pains that might move in their body. So that is the intelligence, cellular intelligence of our bodies. Similar way, guys, land works the same way. Okay, some places carry unresolved pressure. Okay, others carry coherence.
Yeah.
You don't need history books.
Mhm.
Okay,
So,
your nervous system already know which is which. I know it might sound strange. It might sound that this information is mind boggling, but yeah, this is the truth. Land memory is not a symbolic term. You have to just understand this. This is not a metaphorical or a mystical term. It is a very literal and scientific term. The earth stores the information, and same way our human nervous system does, through pressure, through repetition, through any kind of trauma points, okay, or anything that has happened through this span of time. So every ritual that has been performed in a particular land, let's say, okay, we have certain Shakti Pithas, we have all these
mm.
grid points. So these kshetras are very powerful uh, uh, areas having very vast land memory. Okay. Similar way, there are lands where so many wars were fought. I would like to refer to the Kurukshetra region. Okay. Every migration, for example, previously aquatic animals migrated differently than this year. This is the data that I'm speaking. You guys go through it and check the routes of migration aquatic animals have been following. So why all these things are happening? Every extinction event leaves an imprint. So all these things refers to the land. Okay. So these ley lines are not just energy lines, they are memory corridors carrying this accumulated information across regions and timelines. Now, why we are talking about it? Because the energy stored in the land memory is popping out. It is
And
out.
yeah, and that is why, let's say you never visited a place and then you go to a place and you stand there, you don't probably know a lot of history of that place, it's completely unfamiliar. And if you have ever been to a place like that and then you have been flooded with emotion, and those emotions have no personal story attached to it, that is your nervous system reading the compressed history that is held in that land through the stone, through the water, through the magnetic field of that place. As the planetary field grows, okay, as it grows, as it becomes more conductive, more alive with plasma and geomagnetic fluctuations, these stored impressions rise closer to the surface, and the feeling of the veil is thinner is not just in the mystical sense of it, but it is the signal strength that is simply increasing, and your body, as always, is designed to read this bandwidth. It's just that now the volume is, cranked up than previous times.
Yeah, amazing, Priya. This is the most important thing. Volume has been turned up. So that is why everything is up in the air. Now, referring to uh, why these things are activating now, why we feel so much change right now. So you see, ancient cultures, they didn't place all these important nodes, for example, temples, okay, burial grounds, even or cities. They are not randomly placed things. Okay, they are built along ancient ley line uh, corridors, intersections, because those points amplified communication between earth and human consciousness. There are certain points. I would like to take an example over here. Okay. So there are so many Shakti Pithas. Okay. So I got connected with the recently with Karni Mata Grid that is in Deshnok, Rajasthan. Okay. And I have received so many downloads around it, which we will be talking about in our next episodes. But I listened to one video where someone mentioned that when you connect with that grid will connect you to the whole Sindh belt, that way back to Balochistan, Hingalaj, to the Kartikeya grid in the South Bharat. So this is how land memory works. This is how ancient ley lines work. It becomes jagruk in your body. I would like to use this word, how it comes alive in your body, online in your body. Okay. So what's important now is this. Many of these lines went dormant. Okay. They were not active, but remember, they are not gone. Okay. These lines were quiet. The land memory was quiet. So during the longer periods of suppression, let's say disconnection from land, okay, or very mechanized living, unmindful living for a very longer period of time. So what happens is when these lines were quiet, people relied more on external structures. For example, rules, schedules, hierarchies. Outer environment was more prominent. So that is why this is the core line today, no? Go inward. So when you go inward, you will have that sense and ability to connect with our biodiversity. So as these lines come back online, internal guidance will become louder. As Priya said, the volume has turned up. Many of you might be sensing this, okay? And that is the core key why we are talking about all these things right now. So that's why, guys, you might have noticed, that's why there is a lot of irritation, Priya, around control systems.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that is.
Because if you think about it, the frequency is cracked up. There is so many solar flares. There is so much of geomagnetic activity that has increased, that these lines are reactivating persistently. So it's not intermittent at all. It is not slow as well. It's very persistent, and this intensity is just going to go higher. Now, this reactivation, I'm not asking you to believe this, all right? So there's nothing about, hey, listen to us and believe what we are saying. But what we want you to do is feel it in your body and say, yeah, I am going through these. I probably don't like authority. I did not like it before. I don't like it anymore, right? So everything that you had an aversion towards before, that those aversions have just increased. And this creates the effects, the change in perception, the emotional, turmoil surfacing, the altered sleep, meaning you feel that you're sleeping, but you haven't. You wake up tired, but you also don't know where you were. Very, very vivid dreams, which feels like you have just lived another life and you have come back. And amazing insights, like you want to do something and you have the right insight of where do I go, what do I do, who do I speak to. Or if you go to a place, you go to a place, you go to a temple, you go to a hill, you touch a rock, you touch a tree, and you have this beautiful information coming through. Okay. And these are not the things that you learn. Like, you don't learn about ley lines and how do they affect you. The beauty is you're already made to understand these things. Your body already knows these things.
Absolutely. So, when we carry that intelligence, Priya, it is very important to understand this baseline shift that is happening.
Mm,
Okay, why we are using these words, new solar cycle, baseline shift. Okay, it means that we are, likewise you said, we are just moving into stronger phase of it. Okay, so this when I'm talking about solar activity, I'm not just referring to the amount of light being emitted on the earth or the heat produced by it. Okay. So it's pure data. It's pure data. In Hindi, we call it data.
mhm,
Data. Okay. So when solar plasma intersect with Earth's magnetic field, okay, what happens is it alters how information moves through the planetary grid. So when we talk about the planetary grid, it comprises of everything from human to animals to biodiversity, to flora and fauna, everything, including land. So that uh, connection or intersection changes the baseline frequency,
mm,
and that alters the default operating field of the earth. Okay. And how anything that exists on earth functions, right? So one way to understand this is bandwidth. Okay, let's take this example. So more solar activity means more bandwidth. Simple. More information moving through, okay, the system, because we have that expansiveness now. Our on cellular level as well, we have expanded regeneration. has been happening in such a way that on molecular level, our DNAs are releasing, unlocking that kind of information. Okay. So, especially, I want to mention over here people who are into sadhana or have been in consistent inner work since decades, they might resonate with what we are
Mm,
speaking right now
mm,
with more clarity. Okay.
yeah.
So, if you haven't uh, felt it, it might feel like chaos for now, but I just want to mention just be with it, guys.
Yeah, because you said it so rightly, because the filtering mechanism that kept certain frequencies dampened or low are being stripped away because of the sustained solar plasma interaction that is happening. So, what was earlier a background noise is now a foreground signal. And that is why many people are experiencing waves of grief or rage with nothing triggering you at the at the moment types. Okay, there will be memories from childhood or even ancestral lines surfacing very vividly. Examples for that can be, you might see your ancestral house which is not even in existence at the moment, so they would have renovated the house and all those things, but the dream line brings in these old visions back. Okay, intolerance for environments, so it could be crowded places or it could be places wherein there's a lot of fights happening, conversations which are really loud. It can even be places which is very quiet but it has materials or things around it which is not very organic in nature. I felt this sometime back, probably like last year or earlier this year. Gone to a very nice hotel, and there was these plastic sheets that was used instead of walls. So I entered the space and I can smell the plastic. It's not like the plastic is smelling, like they've kept it clean and there are many people sitting and dining there, but I could smell. So the sensitivity towards different things increases. And I literally had to ask my friend, can we just go sit in the open because I'm not able to take this? Okay. I'm giving you examples so that you can refer to your own self. Okay. Another one is physical symptoms, like there is pressure in your crown area, there's heart palpitation, there is a lot of heat that you feel in your body, or there is a slight electrical sensation in your hand and your feet. The slight electrical sensation comes in the form of a slight buzz, which is like constant. And if you just slow down, if you get into stillness, if you are in a quiet space, you can literally listen to it as you're feeling it. And these are not random symptoms. These are very coherent adaptations or responses to the planet that has raised its base frequency. So your system is upgrading the bandwidth, and the process feels intense simply because it is.
Well, listening to you makes me wonder that are we moving to multidimensionality? The answer is yes,
Yeah, we are.
we are. Okay. So when we say interdimensional, okay, multidimensional, we are not talking about escape from Earth or escape from a dimension.
Mm,
Okay. We are talking about the simultaneous awareness that we contain within this very moment. Okay. So high baseline means the earth is now holding multiple layers of information at once. Okay. Which means past, present, potential more vividly. Okay. As you mentioned, Priya, that all these things, all the clear abilities,
mm,
all the senses are
yeah,
coming up because of this multidimensionality thing
yeah.
unlocking. Okay? So people who are working with the land, the grid workers especially, they feel this as an expansion of their responsibility. Uh, in the starting, like when you when this soar in your senses, you might feel a burden around it. Okay. But when you be with it for a longer period of time, things settle. Okay. And that's when you feel you are not just living your life, you are sensing the architecture beneath it. It's so beautiful thing to know, to understand, to contain. Okay. You might feel this as holding two truths as once.
Or multiple. Like
Or multiple.
you can feel like you are a multiple personality
Yeah,
disordered person.
truly said. So let me give you an example. So things which were referred to as mood things, there is a possibility that a person might feel grief in a moment and next moment they might feel gratitude. Another example, A person might feel clarity. Okay, they're very clear about what they're going to do. But next moment, uncertainty. What's going on? And there could be like so much of love. Okay. And then immediate ending. Okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah, there
So,
can be love like towards different things, and then
yeah,
towards the things that you are unable to tolerate, you'll be like, okay, fuck it, I'm done with it.
that.
That's
So I want to mention that it's not instability, guys. It's your increased range. You guys are expanding, and I think it is a very beautiful thing that is happening in this baseline shift.
precisely okay. So I just want to add something to what you said, Alicia.
Yeah.
With respect to interdimensionality, okay, it's more like you are in this human body. However, you are not feeling human.
Mm.
You are feeling that you're unstoppable. There is so many things that you can do. Time is not a limit. Fear is no more there. And this is not the result of a higher frequency alone. Okay. Let me just add something to this. If you haven't done your inner work, if you haven't resolved your inner conflicts, then this whole thing that we're explaining is chaotic, is war zone, is conflict within yourself. But let's say you've done your inner work, worked on your shadows, then you're not just increasing your frequency, you're increasing your coherence. What I mean by coherence is you're more embodied. You know what you're good at, you know what you suck at, you know what your quirks are, you know what your shadows are, and what they are. You're ready to embrace them, you're ready to live with them. You don't want to hide anymore. You have no fear of what anybody is going to think or say or feel or whatever. Now when you do that, okay, when you are that, this higher baseline will not, it's not something for you to escape. Okay, it means simultaneous perception on multiple timelines and layers within the same movement or the same moment. Okay, especially for grid workers, this often translates into expanded sense of responsibility. Now the reason why you feel expanded sense of responsibility is, if you haven't done your inner work, you are not going to feel responsible for anything outside of you. The responsibility for anything outside of you comes when you have enough of it within yourself. And that is why the grid workers and most of the grid workers have actually done intense inner work. So when they have done that intense inner work, everything is very expanded, everything is a responsibility for them. You feel like there are personal choices that ripple into the larger field. If you have heard of this terminology called as unity consciousness, what is unity consciousness? It is about, if I am taking a decision today that I am not going to be fearful of XYZ, whatever that is, okay, then that decision is going to impact the whole of the collective one way or the other. And if you are in that space of, yeah, I'm not going to be fearful about ABC, then that is going to impact you. So one decision that you make is going to impact everybody around you. That is unity consciousness. So the reason why I'm bringing that here is because if you have worked on yourself, then that is a kind of embodied stability that you will have. And that is, embodied stability is no longer an option then. So when you have a nervous system that is calm, that is integrated, that is embodied of shadow, which has, heightened perception, it um it feels more understandable of whatever is happening. But if you do not have that kind of nervous system, then everything is an overwhelm and disassociation. So the true sensitivity requires a very strong inner grid. What I mean by that is very clear boundaries, emotional coherence, and the capacity to hold multiple paradoxes without fracturing or collapsing.
Awesome. So this is like very beautifully explained. And that is why if we don't contextualize all this, what is happening right now, the scenario that is the baseline shift, people will always misinterpret activation as breakdowns. This is a key thing to understand. The earth, please know that the earth doesn't need rescue, okay? But the humans, we people need orientation.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't need fixing, okay? We need context. And this is the context that we are talking about. Okay, we are trying to explain things. the way they are happening, which means once the frame changes, okay, the experiences that we are getting now, the experiences we had previously, they will start to make sense.
Absolutely. And I want to probably repeat something or rephrase something, okay?
Mhm.
Like Alisha said, the earth is not asking to be saved. I think I mentioned this previously as well. The earth is not asking to be saved. She is doing what she is supposed to do. She's evolving, she's shifting, and she's inviting those who can feel it to grow with her into her new frequency. So, what we want you to do is use this entire conversation as your permission slip to trust direct sensing without taking full responsibility of how you go through it. So, grid work is, I think, ultimately relational because it's deep listening between the body, the land, the ancestry, the living present. So it's a combination of all these things. And yeah, please take this as a permission slip.
Yeah. Many radiants we have passed now today. It has
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful conversation. Guys, if you would like to explore all these things deeper, so inside Guardians of In Between, we work consciously on all these shifts, okay, with land, with grids, inner grids, and the stabilization of perception. You are most welcome to join our WhatsApp group. Link is given in the description.
And we have an event happening on the 21st of December. I think we are going to be posting this before that itself. We have an event happening on the 21st of December at around 3 p.m., which is for stabilizing your inner grid before we move into 2026. Now, I know that you guys are going to be celebrating New Year on December 31st, Jan 1st. We are not going to be because that is not our New Year. We will be celebrating when the equinox starts a few months later. But the energy of 2026 is already here. The reason why we are gathering on the 21st is to be able to bring your inner grid on par with whatever you're supposed to receive and feel and be in 2026. Okay, I'm sorry if I said 2026 somewhere else, but this is what we are going to be doing. Okay, so if anything in this episode named an experience that you have been carrying alone, please know that nor are you too late, nor are you too early. You're just on time and you're already part of the calibration team. There is so much work that you guys do in your dream state that I'm sure you don't even realize it. Okay, so the link to join Guardians of In Between is in the description. Make sure you join, make sure you are part of this connect that we're having on the 21st.
Yes, and this was episode 2, Land Memory, Ancient Leylines, and the new solar baseline. We will be talking about various interesting things in the coming
Yeah, and
episode.
I'm so excited about the next episode because
Yeah.
we're going to be exploring the human body itself as a living grid. So we're
Wow.
going to talking about why fascia stores trauma, nervous system regulation, not in the pop culture spiritual way of regulating your nervous system. Okay, I just don't like that word. So maybe taking responsibility of your nervous system or being present with your nervous system is something that I align with. So that, and we are going to be and how all of this is becoming the central part of the planetary work. So the grids are not just speaking you all, they are asking us to become fluent. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for episode 2, for being here. One sincere request, make sure you are engaging, make sure more people get to listen to this, more people get to understand what we are talking about. Because if you are not hitting that like button or subscribe or engaging with the content, then very few people get to see this. Okay, so thank you so much. We will see you in the next episode and stay tuned. Bye bye.
Bye.